The authority to award honorary degrees is an important prerogative reserved for universities in our Western culture. Our university, as a beneficiary of this tradition, holds a societal imprimatur that should not be taken lightly, and Murray State has historically been very judicious in the awarding of such honors. We have only honored 55 such degrees in our 94 years of history. We are pleased that Dr. Walter Bumphus is with us today so we can honor him for his lifelong commitment to higher education and a stellar presence on the national scene. At this time, I am pleased to introduce another distinguished member of the Murray State University Board of Regents, Dr. Jerry Hsu Thornton, who will provide introductory remarks for Dr. Bumphus. Dr. Thornton?
I would like to congratulate both Madison and Langdon. We are very, very proud of you, and you epitomize the academic scholarship and excellence here at Murray State University. Congratulations. It is also an honor for me to be able to congratulate a dear friend of mine who is receiving this honorary degree today. One who started here at Murray State University many years ago and earned his bachelor's and master's degree right here at Murray State before getting the doctorate degree at the University of Texas in Austin. It is very fun and fitting for me to be able to introduce him because we grew up together. And while I was introduced earlier by Dr. Davies as a Regent from Cleveland, Ohio, I was born in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and grew up in Dawson Springs and Earlington. About 27 miles from one of my best friends, Dr. Walter Bumphus, who grew up in Princeton, Kentucky. In your program, you will find information about his background, and it will tell you why he is so deserving of this honorary degree for Murray State University. But I would like to tell you a little bit about him. Starting out very early on, working at the Job Corps in Breckenridge, and then later as a counselor and director right here in Richmond Hall at Murray State University. He met and later married a young lady from Louisville, Kentucky. You have seen her stand, Dr. Eileen Bumphus, who is an associate vice president at the University of Texas. He pursued and married this young woman and therefore needs to hang their shoes on the tree. They are the proud parents of 4 children, 14 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. And that is what he is most proud of, that accomplishment. But in your program, you will also see his career and the work and his commitment to education. And I will just briefly outline that because it's in your program. Not only working here at Murray State University, but on to East Arkansas Community College in Arkansas, Howard Community College in Maryland. He was chancellor of the Brookhaven in Texas, and certainly in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, and then became the state chancellor of the Baton Rouge Community College system. From there, he went back to the University of Texas as a professor in the Department of Education, and later as the chair of the Department of Education at the University of Texas. He has published over 21 publications, received many honors and awards, too numerous to name. But today, I would just simply mention to you that if any of you are interested in going to Princeton, Kentucky, he has the key to the city. He can get you in. Just as importantly, he was the president of his 6th grade class, many times over. You can tell I'm a good friend, and I'm very proud of him, and would certainly like to acquaint you with Dr. Walter G. Bumphus, of whom we are all very proud.
At this time, I would like Dr. Bumphus to take center stage, Jerry Hsu to his right, and Harry Lee Waterfield to his left. And do the proper hooding as I read the honors that he is bestowed upon for his honorary degree. Murray State University hereby certifies that upon the recommendation of the President and the faculty and the Board of Regents has conferred upon Dr. Walter G. Bumphus the degree of Doctor of Education honoris causa in recognition of his lifelong commitment to higher education, his dedicated service to the American Association of Community Colleges, his stellar national presence with the Association of Community College Trustees, his work with the National Initiative for Leadership and Institutional Effectiveness, his association with the National Institute for Staff and Organizational Development, and his outstanding consulting work with numerous community colleges and universities throughout the world. At Murray, Kentucky, this 14th day of May, in the year of our Lord 2016, we bestow upon you the honorary degree. By the virtue and the authority vested in me by the Commonwealth of Kentucky through the Board of Regents of Murray State University, I confer upon you, Dr. Walter G. Bumphus, the degree of Doctor of Education honoris causa with all rights and privileges thereto attaining. Congratulations. Please welcome the newest member of the 2016 graduating class of Murray State University, and who will put his shoes, along with Eileen's, on the shoe tree this afternoon, Walter G. Bumphus.
Wow, what a morning, what a morning. Dr. Davies, Mr. Waterfield, and Dr. Thornton, thank you so very, very much for this really, really wonderful honor. Dr. Thornton, I want to begin by saying thank you so very, very much for that very, very gracious introduction. Folks, I have to tell you, as I was sitting over here to Dr. Thornton's left, I thought she knows me too well. I wasn't sure what she might say. Jerry first met me when we were in middle school, and then we got to know each other in high school a little better, and then she knew me here at Murray as a fraternity in a fraternity, and there's so much that could have been said about that. She knew me as a high school athlete, and she's known Eileen and me through our 45 years of marriage. So Jerry, thank you for being so kind. I was also reminded when she was doing that wonderful introduction of an introduction that I received some 20 years ago in Dallas, Texas, by Dr. Wright Lassiter, who was chancellor of the Dallas County Community College District. And he introduced me, and I had our daughter Fran with me. And for those of you in the audience that have kids, you can appreciate what I'm going to say, because you know your kids are always brutally honest with you. So we were on the way home, and I said, Fran, what did you think about my speech? And she said, Dad, your speech was okay. I said, okay. She said, yeah, but I found the introduction much more interesting. I said, okay, what do you mean by that? She said, well, it made it sound like two things. Number one, that you were awfully old, and number two, that you couldn't keep a job. I said, well, perhaps some of that's right. I am old, but I've been very, very blessed in regards to the jobs. Let me also say to Dr. Davies, members of the board, our platform guests, and others this morning, how wonderfully honored my family and I are to receive this award. Most importantly, to the graduates this morning, I want to say congratulations to all of you and to your families. This is such a momentous day, and if there is anyone in this world, it's me that can appreciate the value of education. I like to call it a game changer in one's life, and it's certainly been that for me, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. To Madison and Landon, wow, your remarks were fabulous this morning, and it only made me remember my time here at Murray in 1966. I want to thank Dr. Davis and the board for this award, because as I was thinking about it on my way down here and reflecting on it over the last couple of days since we've been in Murray, words are totally inadequate to express the gratitude that I feel for this award, and I want you to know that it means the world to me. I've received, as Dr. Thornton talked about, many awards in my career, but I don't know that I've had one any more meaningful than this. To receive an award like this from your alma mater is so meaningful. I want to also express my sincere appreciation to Murray State, because it was here that not only I received the education that has helped me launch my professional career, but most importantly, as Dr. Davies pointed out, it's where I met my bride, my girlfriend, and the lady that serves as the wonderful mother of 4 kids, 14 grandkids, and 1 great-grandkid. And it's amazing that when we're out, people will always say to Eileen, you know you don't look old enough to have 14 grandkids. I never hear that for some reason, but it's always said to her, and she is so, so special. And folks, although she was introduced earlier, I hope you'll indulge me as I introduce my best friend and my wife, Dr. Eileen Bumphus. Eileen, please stand again and be recognized. And we're also proud to have with us today our youngest son, Brian Bumphus, who now declares he wants to be Dr. Brian Bumphus in a few years, but he's an inspiration to me. Brian, please stand again. Thank you. You know, graduates, I want to speak to you directly for just a few minutes, if you'll allow me. I asked my son, what should I say to them today? He gave me a couple of sage pieces of advice. He said, hey, Pops, don't go too long. Check, I got that. And then number 2, don't talk about having to walk to school up the hill both ways in the snow. I said, check, I got that. But I have to tell you that I do want to talk to you a little bit about my journeys to Murray State, and it's been referenced a couple of times, and I certainly picked up from Madison and Landon how much they appreciated that journey as well. But it was in 1966 when I left Princeton, Kentucky, and I used to get a lot of jokes when I first arrived here about being from Princeton. I think the first time I told someone I was from Princeton, they said, Princeton University? I said, no, Princeton, Kentucky. So it's really great today to be in an audience of people that generally know where Princeton might be. I got jokes about I was from Resume Speed, Kentucky. Okay, and that means it's a small town. Jerry and I used to joke back and forth with each other about which town was bigger, Arlington, Dawson Springs, or Princeton, and I assured her Princeton was bigger. Plus, we always beat them in basketball, so that was important. When I left Princeton, my mother and grandmother helped prepare me for the trip to Princeton. I think I was given a suitcase and a $5 bill. And I heard Landon talk about her first experience, Madison talk about her experience here and the expectations. Folks, I'll have to be very honest with you. I didn't have many expectations. I didn't know much about college. Let me ask those of you graduates in the audience today, if you would, please stand if you are a first-generation college student. Would you please stand if you are the first in your family to go to college? Kudos to you. Congratulations to you for the journey that you've made. When I got here, I did not know what to expect. I didn't know if it was going to be a continuation of my experiences at Caldwell County. I didn't really know what to expect. When I got here, I had a roommate over in Franklin Hall, and I used to hear some of the folks talk about, I can't believe I got a roommate, and so forth. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I'm glad to have a bed to myself. I grew up in a family of 10, and I don't even remember not having somebody in the bed with me. And so it was just such a wonderful experience here at Murray. But I have so many lasting memories in terms of my coming here and my matriculation at Murray and the wonderful things that happened. As I fast forward, I think it was in my junior year that I really got inspired about becoming a better student at Murray State University. In fact, it was in an English class that my future bride and I were taken together from a Mrs. Brown who was teaching English. Eileen was a great student. Yours truly was more interested in maintaining eligibility for a lot of different reasons, including I was president of the Qs. Any Qs in the house? If there are, out to you, shout out to you. And also just having a great time at Murray. But I recall Mrs. Brown, who first inspired me about my studies. Eileen was always studying. We were joking last night at dinner. I got to know the library here better as a result of Eileen working over there and Maya over there begging and pleading and chasing her. I spent a lot of time in there with her. But it was her that told me, she said, Walter, you know, you could do a lot better in this English class. And she challenged me, and she said, have you ever thought about what might happen to you in your career if you ever applied yourself? I gave that a lot of thought, and then from that point on, I really did start to make good grades. I finally, I completed my bachelor's degree and my master's here, and as has been indicated already, I went on to receive a Ph.D. at UT Austin. It was also here at Murray State that both Eileen's and my professional careers got launched. I was hired, I believe, as at least one of the first, if not the first, African-American staff members here at the university, and Eileen was hired as an instructor in the speech pathology department, and she was coordinating student teachers. But it was also here that I received a call one day from a guy by the name of Norman Lane, who was the dean of students. And you have to know, based on my track record of my fraternity and some of the other things we were doing, I wasn't sure what the call was about. I was hoping it wasn't anything bad. I started thinking and reflecting, had I done anything that maybe he'd be calling me about? But fortunately, Norman Lane called me and offered me the opportunity to become Director of Minority Affairs here and Dormitory Director in Richmond Hall. And it was in that role and in that experience that I went on to meet a couple of guys that have become lifelong friends. And I don't know if Eddie Hunt is in the audience or not, but if Eddie and E.W. and John Yates are here, would you please stand and be recognized, because it was those guys that inspired me to be a leader. Eddie, if you're here, would you stand? E.W., if you're here, John Yates, please stand. If you're not, no problem. We were together last night for dinner, so we had a chance to tell a lot of lies and catch up a little bit. But nevertheless, those guys really helped inspire me to want to do more. In fact, I found great difficulty leaving Murray State when in 1974, I got offered a position to become the Dean of Students at East Arkansas Community College based on the experiences I had had right here at Murray. I was 24 years old at the time and did not want to leave here because Eileen and I enjoyed it so much here. I recall our trek down going towards Jackson, Tennessee. I can't recall, I think it was down 40 that we went to, from here to Jackson, then 40 from Jackson to Memphis, and then on to Forest City, Arkansas. And all the time we were leaving and driving, I was driving a U-Haul truck and Eileen was behind me in our car. And I was looking through the rearview mirror wanting to make sure I didn't lose her, and I noticed that she was crying. And I remember that I'm taking her away from the only state she'd ever known. We both were from Kentucky and we were moving to Arkansas. And then little did I know that that move would then lead me to Maryland and then to Texas, then to Louisiana, back to Texas again, and now to DC. Graduates, what does that mean to you? What that really means is that you never know what opportunities are going to be presented to you. I challenge you to think about that statement I just made. If you're not familiar with the world, please study your geography. You heard both Madison and Landon talking about speech. Take a speech class if you haven't taken one, but learn how to represent yourself, because there are going to be many opportunities presented for you as a graduate of this very, very fine university. I went on to leave Arkansas and pursue a position in Maryland, as I said. And I think what I would really want to point out to the graduates, more importantly than anything else, is just remember the game-changing aspects of this education. I challenge you to also look up on this stage and you look at Dr. Thornton, Dr. Davies, the very influential and talented members of this faculty and staff. And I want you to start to think about what opportunities do you want for yourself. I want you today to start to dream, and dream big, dream really big, and think about how you can back those dreams up with hard work and dedication. Like Mrs. Brown told me, think about how you can apply yourself to do those wonderful things that are out there for you. Many of the jobs that you will be going to in your professional career do not even exist today. Think about how this world is changing so drastically and so radically with the inventions that are coming forth with technology and so forth. Dr. Davies, I never dreamed, and I think I told you last night, I have probably been at over 200 commencements. I've probably given almost 200 commencement addresses, but I don't think I've ever seen a president dabbing. And so I want you to know I'm totally impressed, sir. You know what to do. You know what to do. So graduates, I want to close this morning by saying is in 1971, when I graduated from this very fine university, that I had the occasion to hear Dr. Dino Curris, who was appointed as a new president, and that was in my master's graduation, rather, and I heard him talking about his vision for this university. And I have to tell you, I was very inspired by his speech, but more inspired by the fact that he had an opportunity to help to shape and change young minds and lives like mine when I was here. But the more and more I thought about the role he was playing, and I thought about what I might want to do, and that was at some point in my life to maybe become a college or university president, it started to dawn on me. I had never seen an individual from a background like mine who had gone on to become a president. So I started to chart a path, if you will, and Jerry Hsu referenced our friendship together. I've got six sisters from a family of 10, but I've never had anyone closer to me other than my wife than Jerry Hsu. She's been a true friend and an advocate, but also has inspired me to do some of the things we've been able to do professionally. But as I started to think about what Dino said, it dawned on me I needed to work harder. Again, Mrs. Brown's comment about dedicating myself. So through that hard work, dedication, and dreams, I then achieved the position of president. Anything is possible to those of you in this audience today who are graduating. And so I would leave you with this. There's a whole lot to be done and too few to do it. Everyone that knows you expects you to do well, but I would challenge you, I would even implore you, not only do well, do good. Graduates, Godspeed. It's been great to be with you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bumphus, for those inspirational words. It is important that we all work hard and, as you said, do well.